So now let's welcome Cindy Dunn to talk about preservation of Dogtown.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. I'm actually thrilled to be here in this beautiful venue on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm Cindy Dunn. I'm the chairperson of the Dogtown Preservation Committee. Now, the Dogtown Preservation Committee has only been in existence for about 2 years. But prior to that, there was a long-standing Dogtown Advisory Committee. Both entities advise the mayor of Gloucester and the city council on things related to Dogtown. Management plans, restoration projects, trail stewardship. And I ask myself often, because the last time a management plan was approved for the city of Gloucester was 1985. Now, that doesn't mean that a tremendous amount of really talented people haven't worked on a management plan for Gloucester. Many people have. It's in a pretty good draft form. However, it never seems to get to that municipal sort of action phase. And I ask myself why. And I think that the reason why it's difficult to come up with a comprehensive plan for Dogtown is because people immediately argue over what is Dogtown. Like the first argument you're going to have with people is the boundaries of Dogtown. Does it include the North Woods? Is it just the Commons? So trying to develop a plan when people can't even decide what the boundaries are is challenging. So Dogtown, for the most part, in the Preservation Commission's mind, is about 3,600 to 4,000 acres. It lies in the town of Rockport, in the city of Gloucester, but it also has parcels in it that aren't owned by either the town or the city. It's got some nonprofit organizations that own parcels, including the New England Forestry and Essex County Greenbelt. There's also parcels in Dogtown that we don't know the ownership of. So it's difficult to manage properties when we don't even know the owners, and we have not bothered as a municipality to acquire those properties. Now, the 1985 management plan had some really great things in it. It focused on public safety. We see a lot of gates now that prevent, unauthorized motor vehicles from going in there. Focused on some fire roads and acquiring some parcels, which were acquired. Many parcels on Dogtown Road were acquired using self-help grants, which give municipalities and towns money to purchase parcels, and then they turn them over to their Conservation Commission for stewardship. The only caveat is you have to take care of it. So the city of Gloucester did that on its first management plan. But now we're 30 years plus down the road, and what is the state of Dogtown now? Well, it's a beautiful place. It's got this mystique about it that certainly has attracted artists, musicians, writers, ecologists. I mean, where else in Gloucester can you walk and learn everything there is about a forest when it began when the glaciers receded? It's got archaeological significance, historical significance. Really, it's second to none on Cape Ann. So it's absolutely perplexing how it seems to get ignored. And I look at, if you come to Gloucester or Cape Ann and you look down on a map, a parcel map, and you see this beautiful wooded area. I heard last night, at the talks last night, somebody refer to it as a preserve. However, it's not a preserve because it has so many entities that are involved in it. It has multiple layers of protection. The nonprofit entities hold what's called conservation restrictions, which is completely protected in perpetuity. However, the city of Gloucester property that was purchased with grants for self-help has Article 97 protection. I don't want to have you gloss over too much. But that type of protection can be reversed. It can be reversed at a municipal and state legislature level. So just keep that in mind, that can be reversed. Some parcels have no protection. Some parcels are protected by the Babson deed. Some parcels are protected by the Watershed Protection Act because it supplies our drinking water. Do I fear that Gloucester will become developed someday? I do not. But I do fear that that protection will be carved away. There are exceptions to the Watershed Protection Act. Like I said, there are protection levels in Dogtown that can be reversed. And so, I just think that we should be mindful of, that Dogtown isn't protected absolutely. And so what can we do about that? It occurred to me last night that things get protected because of stories. And Chris is going to talk about critical habitat species and things, and that gets things protected with laws and things like that. But things ultimately get protected by people, and people protect things because they become passionate about them. And they become passionate about them because of stories. And last night we heard stories about Dogtown, and the passion in the people that spoke voices is like, that's how you save things. That's how you protect things, because people become passionate about them. And, my, call to action sort of is, become involved. Cape Ann Trail Stewards does a ton of work in Dogtown, and sit on local commissions. I know Rockport right now is having trouble filling some commissions. Gloucester is having no trouble filling its commissions. However, we can't meet. With the pandemic and the movement to Zoom, and now the sort of movement back away from Zoom, and some communities wanting to stay hybrid, the Dogtown Preservation Commission hasn't actually been able to meet since late May, because there's been some staff turnover in the city of Gloucester, and we can't meet in person, and we don't have anybody to host the Zoom, and they don't want the chairperson to host the Zoom because maybe I can't hit the record button. But, so I think that there just needs to be, we need to stay vigilant for our Dogtown. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because I'm actually really excited to hear Chris talk, I've heard him talk before, but is, and John, by the way. So the last thing I want to leave you with is, for you folks that are walking tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, as you're walking up into Dogtown, I want you to take a look on your right side, and you'll see the City of Gloucester compost facility. Now, the City of Gloucester compost facility, and this is another reason why I think it's very hard to develop a management plan for Gloucester, is that all these groups over the years just get frustrated because the elephant in the room is the City of Gloucester compost facility. That property, 4.5-acre parcel of property, was purchased in 1981 for $7,000 for watershed protection and conservation, and was given to the City of Gloucester Conservation Commission for them to steward. Now, in the 1990s, early 1990s, the state mandated that municipalities had to provide its citizens with a place to compost, leave debris, and things like that. That facility ended up being sited on that conservation piece of property in the early 90s, and it was supposed to stay there for 2 years. So, anybody who's worked in municipalities, that once something gets set somewhere, it's really, really hard to move it. And there have been many efforts. There have been meetings with mayors, and in fact, I've personally met with the mayor, taken administration, and there was a lot of excitement on moving the facility, and then didn't happen, and just recently met with Mayor Verger's administration, very much excited, and then it kind of, things happen. Municipalities are very reactive. We react to fires, we react to droughts, we react to, snowstorms, we react to harbor. We've got a 400th plus, going on, and, there's always something for this to do. It's not their fault. Municipal employees work very hard. We've had committed leadership. It's just that something always seems to step in front of Dogtown. And I don't know if it's because we're coastal centric. I don't know if it's because it's wooded and people just kind of look and say, well, it's fine, but It's not fine. It's beautiful and it's special and stuff. But, you know, when you can take a piece of property and just, you know, by the way, it's far greater than a half acre now, and it's far more than leaves. And they grind Christmas trees up there. And, you know, like I said, once you allow something in, it's hard to get rid of it. So I think that, you know, we just need to remain vigilant for Dogtown, you know, and, you know, talk to our municipal leaders and just let them know, you know, not in a harsh way, in a judgmental way. We know you work hard. We know the DPW director works hard and has a lot of things on his plate, but just saying, hey, you know, what about Dogtown? What about, you know, Dogtown? What about some habitat restoration? What about, you know, preventing fires from, you know, becoming out of control? And, you know, just what about, you know, some attention paid to Dogtown? So with that, I'll defer.